Hey everybody, how's it going? We're going to do part 2 here of frequently asked questions that we've been talking about. And the question that we have talked about here, and this is part 2 now, is how do you know the Earth is really old? Lots of evidence says it's young. Again, the answer they gave was, according to numerous independent dating methods, the Earth is known to be approximately 4.5 billion years old. Most young Earth arguments rely on inappropriate extrapolations from a few carefully selected and often erroneous data points. Interesting.
Again, if you didn't actually watch part 1,
I
would recommend you watch it. But I would like to point out that he uses the term "know" on how old the Earth is, and I think that's absolutely a poor statement to make if you're a scientist. Moving on, we just talked about old dating methods that may suggest the Earth is old.
Okay.
So we're going to move on to some others that I am not necessarily endorsing any of them.
Okay.
As I would certainly not say that I know that any of them are accurate.
Right.
And we'll get into exactly why that is in a little bit. But looking at the erroneous methods that this Talk Origins website has talked about, I would like to bring up Robert Gentry. Robert Gentry is the thorn in the side of many evolutionists and Big Bang Theory cosmologists. But he's documented, as well as other people, have documented that polonium halos are found in granites all over the world. All over the world, not just in certain locations, but all over the place. And the halos indicate that the granite cooled in a very short period of time, minutes probably, instead of millions of years, that the evolutionists would say it happened. Now, this does not say that the Earth is young, but it does indicate that the granite does not need to be millions or billions of years old. He, as well as others, including the RATE project, did also look at helium retention in zircons, as well as lead retention in zircons.
Okay, you're talking words that some people can't understand. When you say helium retention, what does that mean? Help the layman understand that.
They're following radiometric breakdown of one element to another, and in that breakdown, there's helium released.
Okay.
As you work from uranium to lead, helium is released, and the thought was no one ever actually even looked into if there was going to be if there would be helium in these zircons. The zircons is crystal, because they assumed, well, the Earth is millions of years old. These zircons are huge. Their age is just astronomical. There's nothing left. And so Gentry thought, I bet you they're not right. And so he looked into it and actually did find out. Lo and behold, these millions of years old zircons have helium in them that actually demonstrates that they're probably not millions of years old at all. They're probably actually only on the order of thousands of years old. The same with the lead.
We encourage you to go and educate yourselves, okay?
Yeah,
so
halos.com is one of Gentry's websites. He's got some good stuff to say. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that everything that he or any of these people that we're going to talk about, organizations talk about, is 100% correct, but they certainly, I would not refer to them as erroneous. We also got coal formation. That was determined actually to be something that can happen very quickly in terms of geologic time. And when we extrapolate, there are lots of different facts that if we extrapolate them, we can come up with young ages for the Earth, or likely young ages of the Earth. And that's the point, however, is that these are extrapolations, guesses. We're assuming what the age of the Earth is. We don't know, because I wasn't there, neither was Jason. I'm pretty sure that you weren't there either. As someone pointed out to me, no one alive today was there to see, to know that Abraham Lincoln existed. However, someone was there.
Right.
And they could write about it.
Bingo.
No one was there to see coal form millions of years ago. Nobody.
If that's what happened.
No one wrote about it. I can say that it's an extrapolation. The evolutionist has a hard time with that. But anyway, we can look at things like galaxy motion, remnants of supernovas. I'm just going to go through a whole bunch of things here. We can get into the details about them in subsequent videos if we need to. Those things indicate that the universe is probably not very old. And if the universe isn't old, I assume then that Earth is not very old either. Maybe the Earth is older than the universe. So looking at the oldest written history, it looks like civilization is not very old.
Okay.
I guess back to cosmology, if we look at the age of comets, or the supposed age of comets, or the extrapolated age of comets, and how long they can last, the decay rate, our solar system isn't very old. But you look at the oldest written history, the age of agriculture, things like that, mankind has not been here for very long. the genetic decay and human population estimations and stuff like that. You trace those back. I know a lot of you don't like that stuff. You're just going to say that it's dumb. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it's an example. You can say that it's erroneous. I don't think that that's an appropriate term to use here. There are a large host of methods that can be used to suggest that the Earth is at least significantly younger than the evolutionist will say it has to be. Even if everything turns out to be that the Earth is 1 million years old, evolution is sunk. If the Earth is 1 billion years old, evolution is sunk. I think a lot of this stuff indicates that the Earth is less than 10,000 years.
I'm going to let you know that we do see there's issues. For instance, starlight. A lot of you would say, well, stars are far away, and we know that it's traveled for billions of years.
Yeah,
and so that shows. Now, there's another way you can look at that, though. And we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool stuff. And
it is. It's amazing.
I really do enjoy that. To say that there's a carefully selected few, as this answer indicated, there's literally scores of things that would indicate that the Earth may be much less or much younger than an evolutionist would require it to be. As far as erroneous or inappropriate, you know, you read his answer and I'm thinking, this looks like something that a creationist would say to the evolutionist, except he switched the young and the old around. I think that's kind of funny. None of these methods is perfect. That's the whole point here. None of the methods is perfect, and we've kind of outlined that on both part 1 and part 2. We understand that these are all based on assumption. We understand that none of this is perfect.
Right.
But I can admit that, and to me, really, as a creationist, I don't really care how old the Earth is. If the Earth is 6,000 years old, fantastic. If the Earth is 6 billion years old, who cares? It's a non-issue for me, but the evolutionist has to have the Earth be at least 4.5 billion years old, and frankly, I don't think that's enough time for all of the diversity and the change that we see going from a rock to turning into life to turning into human beings. I just don't see that happening. To me, if an evolutionist brings up the age of the Earth and dating methods, he's going to quickly realize he's painting himself in a corner because he doesn't have a leg to stand on. There's very little solid scientific fact that is going to back him unless he wants to stand on those 3 major assumptions that we talked about in the previous video. But standing on 3 big assumptions and then saying you know what the age of the Earth is means that scientifically you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
We're going to keep making videos, and they're going to help, hopefully, for you to see what we're talking about, but to get educated, to ask questions. Okay, that's what this is about. Asking questions, finding truth. We're about seeking out the truth. And we hope you are too.
Yeah, and seeking the truth doesn't just mean that you go and you look up the Rate Project and try to find all the bad stuff that people have written about them. You should probably at least know what the Rate Project did. Or looking into Robert Gentry and finding all of the reasons that everyone says that he's wrong, which, by the way, he addresses almost every single one of those on his websites. But, you know, if you're open-minded and if you're an honest inquisitor, you're really looking at this stuff, you're going to look at both sides. You're not just going to try to find reasons to believe what you want to believe. That goes for us as well. We try to do that.